Hey, so when I'm out traveling for work, whether that's photo or video kind of work, I tend to carry a pair of headphones that I can use for both entertainment and for monitoring wireless lavalier mics on my clients. Now, in my current kit, I have these guys. These are the Dolly IO12s, and they are a fantastic pair of headphones for a very premium price tag. So in this video, we're going to talk about, firstly, the product itself and some of the features that I like, and then features that I don't like. And whether or not, after all of that, it's worth your time and money. So let's talk about it. So the Dolly IO12s. Let's get the basics out of the way. What are these headphones? These are a over-ear headphones that has a 50 millimeter driver inside of them, and they were essentially, as sold by Dolly anyways, they were initially designed for wired listening, but also perform incredibly well in Bluetooth mode. Now, they have both transparency and noise cancellation, and we'll get to some of the pros and cons of the features in there. But essentially, they are a typical headphones that you would find when you're comparing it to, for example, the Bose or the Sennheisers and the Apple AirPods Max. Now, I think it's important context to quickly mention that for me, I guess I would say I'm previously an audiophile, so I have had a number of different headphones to compare these ones with. I've used Bose and Sennheisers before. I currently own an Apple AirPods Max that I essentially frequent. When I'm not traveling, those are my choice of headphones. And I've also historically had the Bang & Olufsen's H95s. I've also had the H9s, the H9i, I believe, or H9s. I've also had the H8s and a number of different lower end Bang & Olufsen headphones from them. Now, how much do these generally cost? Just so that we can kind of frame it correctly, and you'll be able to start to see, I guess, the diminishing returns as you go up in those price points. These guys retail for $1,900. They're not cheap, but they do have certain qualities to them that, in my opinion, can make them worth your money. But I think, though, at $1,900, if you are a person who just wants to listen to great quality music, high quality music, these headphones are definitely not for you. The reason why I own these headphones are essentially for, well, I say two, but first, they are designed in my kit to be the lav mic monitor. I wanted the clearest, cleanest representation of sound that I am receiving from a client's wireless lavalier. And that's the reason why I have these. But are they good for listening to music as well? Abso-freaking-lutely. And we're gonna go now to the stuff that I love about these headphones. So let's go through some of the things that I love about the headphones. And the first thing that I love about these headphones is generally its design. Dolly has made an incredible stride in this design, and it kind of gives me a bit of a sense that like the headband is very reminiscent of the Bang & Olufsen H95s with its leather band and its kind of metal accents. But it's it's reminiscent, but it has its own unique style. So let's go through the design of these headphones first. You have a headband over here that's got a nice squishy top layer to layer on your head. You've got a beautiful leather. I believe this is cowhide or sheep hide. I forget, but it's a beautiful full grain leather on the top part here. These side panels here are plastic. You've got metal bands that kind of telescope in and out like that. You have that on both sides, and you have a plastic earbacks, essentially, with a little bit of an accent of metal on the side. Now, what some of the videos didn't mention when I first bought these, and I've looked at a number of different videos, is that unlike the Bang & Olufsen H95s, the buttons on the, on the right-hand side of these headphones are tactile buttons. And I think that is very important to mention, especially since a lot of videos don't mention it. These tactile buttons, you have up, down, and middle. And that's your general controls. Up is to increase the volume, down is to decrease the volume, and the middle controls your play, pause, skip, and rewind. And that's usually, one press, it's very typical, one press, play and pause, two presses is skip forward, and three presses, you go back. On the other ear cups, you don't have any physical tactile buttons. They do kind of share the same kind of design as the right-hand side for symmetry, but they don't have general buttons on this side of the back of the ear cups. On the sides, though, you do have a number of different buttons and one port, and let me go through that really quickly. On the right band, on the right, what am I going to call these things? Holy frick! I'm going to just call this the back of the headphones, okay? Let's just, I don't know what to call them. The back of the headphones, on the side here, you've got your bass and hi-fi mode. So you click it for one, you switch between hi-fi mode and bass, and we'll get to that a little bit later. You have your power button on the side here, and you can also press and hold to pair it. And then you've got a couple of LEDs to show Bluetooth mode and low battery indicator or charging indicator. You got a reset button. You've got a USB Type-C port to charge, and at the front you have an ANC, transparency, or off mode, and you press them to cycle through those three different modes. On the other hand, on the other headphone back, you have a 3.5 millimeter jack just right there. And the good thing about this 3.5 millimeter jack is that you don't need to power on the device in order to actually use it. And I think that for me is what sold me between the Bang & Olufsen H95s, or getting a second pair of them because I sold my first pair, or buying these guys. The Bang & Olufsen H95s, you cannot use the 3.5 millimeter jack if the device isn't powered on, which is a bit unfortunate, because if you run out of battery, the thing is pretty much dead. But with the Dolly IO 12s, you can use this analog input even if the battery is completely exhausted. You can have a fully charged battery here, and then this 3.5 millimeter jack is like, you can use it while it's off, which is fantastic. Okay, so that's the design. What else do I like about these headphones? When you look at a lot of the marketing material from Dolly, one of the main things that they mentioned was how these headphones are appless, right? Appless, like there is no app to control these headphones. And they mentioned that that was a purposeful decision because they want these headphones to be as, I guess, as individual, or it's like separated from everything else. They just want it to be the headphones. And I think at first I was a little bit iffy on that, especially coming from Bang & Olufsen's connected devices, right? Every single device has a way to EQ them manually in terms of your taste. You have firmware updates, et cetera, and you have an app for that. But having used these guys for over 6 months, I would probably say I understand now where Dolly is coming from, and I think that they have made a correct choice for these guys. And the reason for that is because you know that these headphones will be headphones when you want them to be. There is no need to update firmware because there's some bugs that need to be sorted out. There's no need for you to kind of use the app to kind of meticulously kind of change your parameters to make it more bassy or more hi-fi or anything in between. None of that is applicable to these headphones because there is no app. And I think that actually makes it simpler for me to use, and in which case it makes it actually much more fun because I know that I can take them out of the box and they They just work as it is. You do have a switch though on this right hand side to change between bass and hi-fi. Now, bass and hi-fi are the two modes that you have for these headphones, and I would probably say they're enough. I generally use bass as the profile and not hi-fi. I find that the hi-fi is a little bit too tinny in my head anyways, and it kind of is a little bit unpleasant. And I tend to, when I listen to, for example, old tracks, they just tend to lean towards being too sharp. But when I use the bass mode, it is far warmer. It's much more enveloping the sound. And even though I don't get those super crystal clear highs, I get enough of them to be pleasant and with a nice rumble on the bottom end. Next, let's talk about ANC, because ANC and transparency mode is one of those key features that I want from headphones. And so far, I will tell you right now, if you are here and you have AirPods Max, AirPods Max is best in class when it comes to ANC and transparency mode, in my opinion. Transparency mode, even in the new Sonos headphones that just came out, I think they're called the Ace, the transparency mode, no one seems to be able to get them as AirPods Max. When I turn on transparency mode on the AirPods Max, they literally turn into transparent. They literally, or not literally, but they become transparent. I can hear everything around me as if I wasn't wearing any headphones. With these ones, they are fairly good. I would probably say they are better than the Bang & Olufsen H95s, where I can actually hear better sounds around me, but it's still muffled. I would probably say if AirPods Max is 100%, I would say these guys are around about 70%. There's still room to be desired, but I'm not complaining. The Bang & Olufsen H95s, however, in terms of their transparency mode, I would probably say they're at like 50% compared to the AirPods Max. So there's definitely, for the Bang & Olufsen H95s, there's definitely like that feeling of they're not good enough. These ones are like, yeah, they're good enough, but they're not the best. And that's kind of what you get with these headphones. And the last bit that I like about them, and I think I'll talk about the sound really quickly, the audio experience actually, because they're headphones, right? The one thing that I love about the Dolly I keep saying H95s, the Dolly IO12s, is that the audio is actually, I would say, very, very good. And I know that that's not really descriptive, but I'm gonna try to describe it as compared to the H95s. And I'm kind of gonna separate them from high, mids, and lows. Let's first talk about the highs. I think these guys in hi-fi mode, the highs are too sharp and they are too harsh. I genuinely think, I've tried it in so many different tracks, too harsh, too tinny up in the high end. It's not that crystal clear, it's not that shimmer that I heard when using the Bang & Olufsen H95s. I think the Bang & Olufsen H95s are much more airy, and the highs are really clean and they are kind of shimmery, is the way that I described it in my previous review. Now let's talk about the middle frequency really quickly. The middle frequency on the Dolly IO12s as compared to the H95s, Dolly IO12s win by a mile, in my opinion. I think that the Dolly IO12s, when you compare the mid frequencies just envelop you completely. And on the H95s, they still feel compressed and they still they're separated, but they don't have the depth. Dolly IO12s has incredible depths. It's bloody beautiful. And then finally, let's talk about the lows. I think the lows is it's a fairly conservative win to the H95s, primarily because I find that the low end frequency response of the H95s are far more confident and it's far more bold in its representation. When I listen to tracks that have a really like a subwoofer frequency kicking in, the H95s rumbles you at that low level, whereas the the Dollies, they have a fall off in which they don't even respond to those subwoofer frequencies. Editor Mathan here, and I'm interrupting myself from 2 to 3 weeks ago to kind of talk about little facts, actually huge facts, that I forgot to mention back when I was recording that video over in Perth. The first thing, I don't know how I missed this, is the comfort of these headphones. The Dolly IO12s is very comfortable to use. In terms of the headband up here, it's got like a little memory foam material, a cushy material that spreads the pressure across your head. And I've never had any form of fatigue. You know, when you start hurting up here from wearing headphones too long, I've never had that happen to me with the IO12s. Now, the other thing that I forgot to mention are the ear pads. The ear pads are made from real leather, and they also have a memory foam-like material. You know, they are made from memory foam-like material and leather, and they are very, very comfortable, and they sit like, it gives like a lot of room for your ear to kind of just breathe while you're wearing these headphones. And the cool thing about it, is that they also have like kind of like a bump on the ear pads itself that kind of fits around the recess of the back of your ear, which kind of helps with, you know, isolation from both inside world and the outside world. So there's no leakage of sound whatsoever from my experience here. Now, the last thing I forgot to mention is that these ear pads are actually removable. So you twist and then you can remove them like so. So if you do end up damaging them, you can get a replacement and, you know, replace them yourself. And that is the beautiful 50mm driver in there. That is fan-freaking-tastic. So having said that, I'm gonna hand it over back to me from 2 to 3 weeks ago. And so that's it. I think that there's a lot of amazing things with these headphones, and that's one of the reasons why I take them with me on work. They do come with a carrying case, which I absolutely freaking love. And in the carrying case, you have a 3.5mm cable. You have a 3.5mm to a 1/4 inch adapter. You've got an airplane adapter. And then you've also got a USB-A to USB Type-C cable, and you also have a very long 3.5mm, a very long braided 3.5mm cable that is like effing long. It's like 3 meters long. You can use it literally by plugging into like your hi-fi system. Now, the things I don't like, generally, these are one of the pair of headphones I would probably say, apart from the price, there's not a lot for me to dislike. Transparency mode is good, active noise cancellation is good, the design is beautiful, battery life is absolutely amazing, and they are a rock solid pair of headphones that I trust to be ready when I need to do work or when I need to listen to stuff. And so far it has never failed me. And I think that is a quality that Dolly has, you know, their investment has paid off in that respect. So, having said that, without going too much longer, I think that if you are in the market to buy a pair of headphones, expensive headphones, I personally would lean towards the Dolly IO12s. If I could own both, though, I would love to still own the H95s, because I think that they're just the general audio representation of the H95s are kind of like, I like it. It's very warm and it's like really punchy on the low end. These guys aren't, but I'm not going to fault them for that, because they are meant to be hi-fi pair of cans, and they do their jobs incredibly well. So I hope that was useful to you. If that information was useful, consider hitting that like and the sub button and helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. If you do have a comment or a question about this particular headphones that I can answer, please hit me down in the comment below, and I promise that I will answer every single question that people may have about these pairs of headphones. If you hated this video though, send it to 10 of your hated friends. I'm sure they're going to hit that dislike button as well as you, and they will absolutely hate this channel, which is fine by me. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. See ya.